Welcome, my dear learners, for this course on finite element analysis. So far, in our module 3, we were discussing about analysis of beams. In the previous lecture, I completed the discussion on analysis of beams. In today's lecture, let us start our discussion about analysis of torsions of shaft. In today's lecture, I am going to derive an expression for element stiffness matrix and shear stress to analyze the torsions of shafts. Today's topic is expression for shear stress and element stiffness matrix for analysis of shafts. If I consider a prismatic rod of length L applied with a torque T, then it will undergo an angular twist. That can be represented as shown in the figure. Let us consider a prismatic rod of length L. If I apply a torque onto this prismatic rod, undergo an angular twist. Let the length of this prismatic rod be L and diameter be D, and the modulus of rigidity is given by G. If I take any cross section on this prismatic rod and analyze, let us take section AA, and if I analyze the section AA, it looks like let the radius is R. Due to the application of torque T, there will be an angular deformation. Let the deflection be taken as d theta and the radius is R. This angular deformation is nothing but shear strain, which is denoted by gamma. So this angular deformation is termed as shear strain. Let us denote this shear strain by gamma, and the length can be taken as dx. Dx with the length of this element. Due to the application of torque T, it is undergoing an angular deformation. Let the radius be R. The total angular deformation of this shear strain, which is denoted by gamma. So gamma is a notation we use to denote the shear strain. So for this element to be in equilibrium, I can write for the element to be in equilibrium. From the figure, I can write it as the angular deformation, which is termed as shear strain into length dx must be equal to radius into twist d theta. Whereas the length varies from 0 to L and the angular deformation d theta varies from theta 1 to theta 2. So therefore, substituting the limits and integrating, I will get gamma into integration of length from 0 to LE and integral of angle from theta 1 to theta 2. If I substitute and solve, I will get R theta 2 minus theta 1. So therefore, the formula for shear strain is given by R by length into theta 2 minus theta 1. So this is length, overall length. Now, from the definition of modulus of rigidity, or from the definition of rigidity modulus, we can define the rigidity modulus as the ratio of shear stress to shear strain within the elastic limit. So therefore, from the definition of modulus of rigidity, I can define the rigidity modulus as G is equal to shear stress tau divided by shear strain gamma within the elastic limit. Assuming the prismatic bar is an isotropic material, I can write within the elastic limit the rigidity modulus as shear stress divided by shear strain. Therefore, substituting the value of shear strain from equation number 1, I will get the formula for shear stress as tau will be equal to G into R divided by L into theta final node minus theta initial node in general. Let us take this as equation number 2. Next, I can model this prismatic bar element as an two-noded bar element with 1 degree of freedom. For one-dimensional bar element with 1 degree of freedom, the nodal variables are the displacements. Whereas for this torsions of shaft as a one-dimensional bar element, the nodal variables will be twists. So therefore, I can model it using one-dimensional bar element. The finite element will be the taken elemental length as Le. At node 1, let torque be T1 and twist be theta 1. At node 2, the torque be T2 and twist be theta 2. Now, from torsional equation we know that from torsional equation we know that T by J is equal to tau by R, where T is externally applied torque, J is polar moment of inertia, tau is shear stress and R is radius. From equation 2, if I substitute the value of tau, then torque T will be given by T is equal to J by L into d theta. That is, by from substituting the value of shear stress from equation 2, I will get the axial torque is equal to Gj by L into d theta. Applying the boundary condition of our finite element model, the boundary conditions are at node 1 T is equal to T1 and d theta is equal to theta 1 minus theta 2. Substituting the boundary condition, I will get T1 is equal to G into J by L theta 1 minus theta 2. Again, at node 2, the boundary condition is torque, axially applied torque is T2 and d theta value is theta 2 minus theta 1. If I substitute the boundary condition, I will get T2 as Gj by L theta 2 minus theta 1. If I represent T1 and T2 in matrix form, I will get T1 T2 is equal to Gj by L minus 1 1 into theta 1 theta 2. Comparing this matrix with the equilibrium equation, from equilibrium equation we know that torque matrix is equal to stiffness matrix into nodal variables. So therefore, the stiffness matrix is given by K of any element is equal to Gj by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. This completes our discussion on derivation for expression for shear stress and stiffness matrix for analysis of torsions of shaft. The shear stress is given by Gr by L theta final node minus theta initial node, whereas the stiffness matrix is given by Gj by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. Let us move on to solve our first problem on torsions of shafts. Let us solve our problem number 1. The problem number 1 states that for the bar of circular cross section having a diameter of 50 mm is firmly fixed at its ends and subject to a torque at B and C as shown in the figure, determine the maximum angle of twist and shear stresses. Take modulus of rigidity as 7 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton per millimeter square and Young's modulus as 2 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton per millimeter square. So moving on to solve this problem, the first step is finite element model. So step 1, present the problem in finite element model. The problem can be modeled with the help of 4 nodes. At node number 1 it is fixed. At node number 2 we are applying a torque of 1 Newton millimeters. At node 2 we are again applying a torque of 1.5 Newton millimeters, and node 4 is completely fixed. So node 1 is fixed, node 2 have torque, node 3 is also having torque, and node 4 is completely fixed. So now the length is also given. The length for element 1 is 2 meters. So let us maintain constant units. Let us use Newton for force, and for linear dimensions, for lengths, diameters and all, let us use millimeters. So if I do that, I will get 2000 millimeters. Element 2 is of 1000 millimeters and element 3 is of 1000 millimeters. So this is element 1, element 2 and element 3. Moving on to step 2, element stiffness matrix. For element stiffness matrix is K of an element is equal to Gj by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, where G is modulus of rigidity, J is polar moment of inertia and L is length. Formula for J, polar moment of inertia, J is polar moment of inertia and the value of J is pi d to the power of 4 divided by 32. Pi d to the power of 4 divided by 32. Since we are using unit as millimeters, we will get it in millimeter to the power of 4. So as you know the formula, if I put and solve for element 1, G is 7 into 10 to the power of 4 and J is pi into 50 to the power of 4 divided by length is 2000. 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. So if I substitute and solve, the value for K1 will be pi to the power 4 by 32. So 32 into 2000. So I will get 10 to the power of 6 common. Inside this bracket I will be getting 21.476 minus 21.476 minus 21.476 plus 21.476. So this is the element stiffness matrix for element 1. Similarly, if I solve for element 2, I will get for element 2 I have 710 to the power of 4. Again J is pi d power 4 by 32 into 1000. The length is 1000. Matrix is 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. If I substitute and solve, the element stiffness matrix for element 2 will be 9 5 10 raised to 6. So 10 raised to 6 I will take out. So I left out with 42.951 minus 42.951 minus 42.951. Value of modulus of rigidity and values of polar moment of inertia remain same for both element 2 and element 3. So therefore the stiffness matrix remains same for element 3 also. So therefore K3 is also equal to 10 to the power of 6 into 42.951 minus 42.951 minus 42.951 and 42.951. So this is the step 2 element stiffness matrix for element 1, 2 and element 3. Next moving on to get global stiffness matrix. The global stiffness matrix procedure to obtain the global stiffness matrix is same as the procedure what we follow in analysis of one dimension of bars. That is, K22 of element 1 will be added to the K11 of element 2. Then K22 of element 2 will be added to the K11 of element 3, and the procedure will be continued. Or else you can also solve by using the procedure what we have followed for getting the global stiffness matrix for analysis of beams. The order of the global stiffness matrix is n cross n for torsion of shaft, where n is number of nodes, because each node has 1 degree of freedom. If the number of degrees of freedom is 2, then the order of global stiffness matrix will become 2n cross 2n. If the degrees of freedom per node is 3, then the order of global stiffness matrix will become 3n cross 3n. Here the degrees of freedom per each node is 1, so therefore the order of the global stiffness matrix is n cross n, where n is number of nodes. So this problem has 4 nodes, so therefore the order of the global stiffness matrix will be 4 cross 4. So if I follow the procedure to obtain the global stiffness matrix, I will get 10 to the power of 6 common. So first stiffness matrix of 1, so I will get 21.476 minus 21.476 minus 21.476 plus 21.476. Now K22 of element 1 will be added to the K11 of element 2. So adding which I will get 42.915 minus 42.951 minus 42.951 42.951. Next is adding K22 of element 2 with the K11 of element 3. I will get plus 42.951 minus 42.951 minus 42.951 plus 42.951. So this completes the global stiffness matrix whose order is n cross n, where n is number of nodes. So the order will be 4 cross 4. If you observe, so this is for element 1, this is for element 2, and this is for element 3. Next, step 4 is element load vector. But for torsion shaft, we don't have any other loading conditions apart from torque applied at each node. So therefore, directly I can go for global torque vector. So step 4 is global torque vector. If I go for global torque vector, the torques at each node are: at node 1 it is 0, at node 2 it is 1 Newton millimeters, at node 3 it is 1.5 Newton millimeters, at node 4 it is 0. So this is the global torque vector for this problem. Now moving on to step 5, that is equilibrium equation and application of boundary condition. So the equilibrium equation is given by K matrix into Q matrix is equal to global torque vector. So this itself is the K matrix. So therefore K matrix into Q matrix. Q matrix is theta 1, theta 2, theta 3 and theta 4 will be equal to the torque matrix 0, 1, 1.5 and 0. The boundary conditions are node 1 is fixed, so for theta 1 is equal to 0. Node 4 is also fixed, therefore theta 4 is also equal to 0. So eliminating corresponding row and column, so I will get theta 1 is 0 and theta 4 is also equal to 0. Therefore the remaining matrix, if I write, I will get the matrix as 10 to the power of 6 into 21.476 plus 42.951, which gives us 64.427 minus 42.951 minus 42.951. 42.951 into 2 is 85.902. I will get go for equation with two unknowns. I have 64.427 minus 42.951 1 minus 42.951 85.902 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 6. I am taking this 10 power 6 this side, it will become 10 power minus 6. Thereby the simplification will become easier. Theta 2 as 4.07 into 10 to the power of minus 8 radians, and theta 3 as 3.78 into 10 to the power of minus 8 radians. Now determining the elemental shear stresses. Elemental shear stress is tau is equal to G into R by L, theta final node minus theta initial node. So moving for element 1, tau 1 is equal to G is 7 into 10 to the power of 4, radius is 25 millimeters, length is 2000 mm. Theta for element 1 is theta 1 and theta 2. The final is theta 2, initial is theta 1. So therefore I will get 4.07 into 10 to the power of minus 8. Theta 2 minus theta 1 is 0. So if I solve, I will get, so answer is 3.56 into 10 to the power of minus 5 Newton per millimeter square, into the node for element 2 is 2 and 3. So therefore theta final is theta 3, theta initial is theta 2. Substituting which I will get 3.78 into 10 to the power of minus 8 minus 4.07 into 10 to the power of minus 8, which yields us minus 5.076075 into 10 to the power of minus 6 Newton per millimeter square. And finally I have tau 3, which is equal to G is 7 into 10 to the power of 4, radius is 25 and length is 1000. For element 3, the nodes are 3 and 4, so theta 4 is 0, theta 3 is 3.78 into 10 to the power of minus 8. If I substitute and solve, so I will get 6.615 into 10 to the power of minus 5 Newton per millimeter square. So if I take 10 power 6, I can express this in pascals. So therefore the stresses are 35.6 Newton per meter square. Here I will get minus 5 Newton per meter square, and here I will get 66.15 Newton per meter square. So this completes our problem number 1. That's all from this lecture. Thank you.